Have you ever held off on something for so long or tried to prolong the time for something that must be done? Today on the MR podcast, let's talk about this. And I hope that you enjoyed yesterday's Super Soul Sunday on letting go, because the letting go process is refining. And I hope that you will visit mentorshiprevolution.com and get your free read of yesterday's Super Soul Sunday session. And I pray that you'll be blessed along the way. So today I want to talk about, or early in the morning, I want to talk about how when we prolong something, what are we really doing when we prolong the time, or when we procrastinate, or when we stress about what we haven't yet done? What are we really doing to ourselves mentally and physically when we allow ourselves to create this habit, or however often we do it? Because I feel like I know what this is like, and I know that as adults, yes, actually for adults, I think this seems to be a bigger issue just because we tend to have more obligations, responsibilities, and business to handle compared to younger people who just haven't reached that space in life. But for us adults, we deal with this daily, weekly, monthly, or however often, because, we live busy lives. We wear a lot of titles, and, we have a lot of responsibilities, and we have a lot of places we need to be at. And we just have so many things to do publicly and privately. And I feel like sometimes we have some things that we just keep prolonging because we'll wait till the last day, or we'll wait till the day before, or we'll wait till the last point when we've already had opportunities to do what we need to do. So it's a very intriguing way to view things when you think about how we prolong time. Some would call it wasting time, but I think that will be cause for a whole nother podcast, because I can talk to you about what I think wasting time is, and we can stimulate on that. But I really want to talk about early this morning in a short podcast how what prolonging the time really does. Does it really, provide instant gratification? Does it really provide pleasure? Does it really provide peace? Or does it, in the end, create chaos, create madness, create confusion, and create disorganization? Because it's important that we think about that, because I want to think about what are some methods, what are some tips, what are some remedies for us who struggle with doing things, in a stable time frame, or doing things orderly. I want us to consider what are some methods. And if you are not aware, Mentorship Revolution has started our own, on the website, we have our own little area for tips on organization. It's called productivity. So I'll hopefully post something in there about this topic so that we can talk about productivity, because this relates to productivity. And it's interesting that prolonging time and stuff, is that really being productive? Is, taking forever to do what could take an hour, or just going slow and dragging along, is that really being productive? How would life be if we didn't deal with procrastination and didn't deal with sabotage and all those other things that tend to deal with how we see time, how we feel about time? And I know that there's so many reasons all of us choose to do it, but I just want us to think about things like this. And it just occurred to me because, in the morning we're starting our day, we're getting up, we have to just start with literally opening our eyes and being able to, in the long run, brush our teeth and wash our face. But we all have those things that we choose to avoid because we just don't find it fun to do. But I think that it's interesting if we'll see it as if there are many ways that we can deal with that lack of energy that we may be dealing with, or that lack of enthusiasm. If I could offer a few right now and you didn't mind, I would do that. So I think that a few ways that we can deal with, the issue of prolonging time, or, wasting time or not using it too wisely is, number one, we have to see things in the broader perspective. And, we have to see things like, well, if I'm late, if I'm not orderly, if I'm not living up to my responsibilities, then not only do I create a disordered environment, it actually falls on the shoulders of others who are counting on me. And it kind of creates a down spiral, because it's not like you can really escape what what situation you're in or what life is, giving you. You have to face it head on. And I know that's not always easy and we don't always feel like it, but it's important that we keep in mind it's not just us. The world is way, 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 to be honest, and just way too large for us to start to think small. So we have to keep that in mind when we start to feel like we want to procrastinate all the time, or we just feel like we're losing ourselves. So number 2, I want to also say that you have to kind of create a fun routine, or you have to create some mood uplifting things in your environment, maybe music in the morning, maybe create a part in your routine where you get up and do some type of physical activity in your house, or some people actually like to get out their house, so that's great itself. But you have to actually get moving. Sometimes just laying there and thinking about how you don't want to get up or you don't want to do it can actually cause you to go into a worse spiral and a worse state of mind. So sometimes just starting with A can get you to Z. So number 3, I would also suggest that if you have problems with, prolonging time or just waiting till the last minute to do things, you have to create a schedule. You have to create a planner. You have to create to-do lists. You have to have something in front of you that's physically able to, that's visible and physically able to be touched, so that you're not just carrying all these things around in your head and they're just jumping from one foot to the, from one, brain cell to the other. But instead you actually see that this is what I'm supposed to do, instead of just carrying those thoughts in your head and waiting for those thoughts to cause you to act. So the last tip that I would share with you is to number 5, use apps, seek things that are external, use apps, use maybe, encouragement. I know social media isn't really the most productive. I'm not going to say social media is not productive, but it depends on what side you tend to view it. But I think there's many productive ways online. You can find quotes. You can find different type of text message services that send you motivational messages every morning. I used to get those starting my senior year in high school up until a while ago. So there's all kind of ways that we can deal with the issue of prolonging time and all of that. But I just wanted to encourage you all because, we all want to use our time wisely. We all want to be successful, and we all want to be responsible, and we all want to grow in leadership, abilities. So it's just important that we address things and that we talk about it and know that you're not alone. We all deal with it. We also live in a fast-paced society, so sometimes it seems like we don't get the rest we need. So it's just important that we discuss these things so that we can move forward, knowing that we are, considering, what areas we can improve in. So I hope that this message and this podcast today, which I call this a short podcast, provided you with something to carry away. I hope that you go visit our website so that you can get the Super Soul Sunday message about the letting go process. Because also in the letting go process, I am giving you signs of when it's time to let go. And hopefully it will be helpful to you if you have any type of familiarity or relatability to what letting go is. So thank you for tuning in. And if this is your first time listening, please subscribe and follow us on Spreaker and all of our other mainstream platforms. We want you here. We want you to tune in to what's some of the finest radio that there is. The MR podcast is also similar to the fulfillment of the mission to help sustain minds and lives in the 21st century. So we want to help sustain minds and lives in a modern world, and we want to give you a space where we can discuss the things that are going to help you in your life. And also some things that's going to get you thinking, some things that, may actually touch you, tug at your heartstrings, and some things that may make you laugh, because, laughter is very important to itself. And I hope that you will have a nice day. I hope that this podcast was a starter, and I just will talk to you soon. And by the way, I am Hannah Lassiter, the founder of Mentorship Revolution and the MR Podcast, the main speaker. I am also the author of Poetry for Girls That Struggle. I actually have some great news about my book, but you can tune into another episode to hear more about that. Have a nice day.